Uachtarán a chuine uisle, balaíari galéir agus 100,000 fáilteoibh go dtí an oíche cheoil speisialta seo. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, it's my very great pleasure to welcome you all here this evening to the National Concert Hall for this, the finals of the first ever GPA Dublin International Piano Competition. On stage we have the ladies and gentlemen of the RTE Symphony Orchestra. Their leader is Audrey Collins and they're conducted by Prunchius O'Din. And our three finalists tonight are Philippe Cassar from France, who'll play the Brahms No. 1 Concerto. From Poland, Krzysztof Jablonski will play the Tchaikovsky No. 1. And also from France, François Kilian, who'll play the Brahms No. 2 Concerto. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a wonderful evening here this evening at the National Concert Hall, and we wish all our competitors the very best of luck. Thank you very much.
Good evening and welcome back to the last evening of the finals of the GPA Dublin International Piano Competition. For those of you who did not see last night's events, the jury who decide the result consists of Christopher Elton, Professor at the Royal Academy of Music in London, Yasuo Watanabe, the Japanese pianist and conductor, Konrad Meister, Professor from Hanover, Jan Panenka, former member of the Suk Trio, Sergei Dorensky from the Moscow Conservatory, Fanny Waterman, co-founder of the Leeds Piano Competition, John O'Connor, chairman of the jury, Greg J. Gleesner, vice president of Columbia Artists Management, Marcello Abbado, director of the Verdi Conservatory in Milan, Charles Rosen, the distinguished pianist and writer, Dominique Merlet, professor of piano at the Paris Conservatoire, Heinz Medjimorek, professor at the High School for Music in Vienna, and Philip Martin, the well-known Irish pianist and composer. Our first competitor tonight is the French pianist Philippe Collard, who plays the Piano Concerto No. 1 in D minor by Brahms. And here is Philippe Cassar with the conductor Prunchius O'Din to play Brahms Piano Concerto No. 1. A wonderful reception for Philippe Cassard playing the Brahms Concerto No. 1. The young man who played Debussy so marvelously has proved his worth in Brahms. A wonderful performance. But please join us after this break. Thank you. Welcome back. Our first competitor, Philippe Cassard, who played the Brahms First Piano Concerto, spoke earlier today with Ingrid Miley.
Philippe, congratulations on getting to the final. How are you feeling at the moment?
Well, I am very happy, but at the same time I'm very preoccupied with the thought that I have to play well on the night, because I have to be worthy of being chosen.
Are you nervous before you play?
I think everyone is very nervous because of the tension. But normally all of that stops once I get to the piano, because I always enjoy playing. So it just stops. I want to share my love of music with the public.
Do you get more nervous when you're playing in a competition, or is it the same thing for every concert?
No, because with concerts, I think it's the public have to realize it's not an easy life. That the pleasure that we get from playing music has a price, and that price is a lot of fear, anxiety, tension beforehand. It's a huge responsibility to be on stage either alone or with an orchestra in front of the public. So the fear is completely natural.
Competitions demand a high degree of single-minded concentration. Do you have other musical interests?
Competitions are just something you have to go through. But the main thing is that if you win a prize, you get to meet other musicians, exchange ideas, play chamber music, or accompany singers, which I particularly enjoy. Broaden your musical and artistic horizons as much as possible.
You've chosen to play Brahms' First Piano Concerto. Why?
It's a long story, because it was the first concerto I worked on. I was 15, and I asked my teacher if I could tackle this concerto. He hesitated, he said, "You're young, but we'll have a go." So I worked on, and afterwards I was fortunate in getting the advice from Leon Fleischer, the great American pianist and teacher. Since then, this concerto has meant something special to me, and every time I'm in competition, it's on my program. It's a majestic work, so passionate, so rich, that every time I play it, I derive new satisfaction, new pleasure from it.
So it's a love affair?
Absolutely, it's passionate.
Welcome back. Hugh, young Philippe Cassard's playing of the Brahms, and earlier in the week he played fascinating Debussy. I think he had the measure of this concerto. What do you think?
I agree completely. Perhaps, you know, we heard the American Leonard Mark Anderson who played it yesterday. Perhaps his approach was slightly gutsier. The tone was slightly bigger, perhaps in the way that Americans tend to use. I think that style of playing is used in America. But I felt that Cassard's integrated very well with the orchestra.
Oh, fantastically, I thought.
Yes.
And what about the slow movement particularly? Those wonderfully dolce parts where he just seemed to be able to steal in. It reminded me of Raduluco again. I think we mentioned it last night.
Absolutely.
What was your feeling about that?
Yes, one of those magical moments where, you know, we were talking about it last night, in fact, and I thought that he brought those off wonderfully here. You could feel it, you could hear a pin drop.
Absolutely super. You know, just thinking quickly about performance, perfection is the attainable great thing of all time, isn't it? And the odd wrong note here or there, I don't think matters one hoot in it. He had one or two little slips, but don't you think the energy and the dramatic quality was there, in spite of the more brash playing of the American?
Yes. I think I agree with you on the subject of wrong notes. I think all these players have had a very tiring 8 days. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on them this evening and last night, and a few wrong notes here or there, I think the jury will disregard them completely. What you really want to hear is what they're doing with the piano sound, how they're integrating with the orchestra and the conductor. and their ideas,
That's
how
right.
interesting they are.
Did you hear everything quite clearly from this seat in the hall? I mean, sort of
Absolutely,
passage work.
yes.
I found it fascinating that sometimes I didn't last night hear all the passage work in softer bits that the soloists had. But tonight with Philippe, I must say, I heard every note he played.
Everything. Yes, I agree. Another point I was making last night was about the trills of Anderson, and that they were
Anderson.
incisive. I liked very much, Philippe, the fact that, for example, the trills in the second movement were really dolce and very, very lyrical, whereas when he came to the trills of the last movement towards the end, they had a more spiky quality. So even there, I felt he was producing different kinds of sounds appropriate to different moments in the music.
That's right. I thought the ensemble was pretty good, wasn't it? Between conductor, orchestra and soloist.
Yes, indeed. I felt he was very aware, he was listening, he was looking up. Any slight adjustments that were necessary, he was very quick to do.
Let me ask you a question as a competitor in a number of competitions and a prize winner on 2 or 3 occasions at least. Standing at the door, waiting on this door opening and walking on, what's your sort of feeling? How are you winding yourself up or trying to keep calm or whatever? What's the impression you feel?
Well, my own experiences were that, oddly enough, it's easier in the final. The semi-final can be very difficult because it's a stage maybe when you're a little bit tired and so on, and you've got to get out there by yourself and do it again. The final night, all right, you have the bright lights, you have the television cameras and so on, but there is an added excitement in the air. You have a whole orchestra have suddenly come in to join you. Great feeling of occasion, and I think that it can help you. It's not the worst moment in the competition usually, no.
Do you find your heart beating stronger at the beginning of a piece as opposed to the end of it? Do you feel elated once you've got within the last 2 minutes of it? Or do you still keep it going, you know?
I thought I could detect in Kassar a feeling of seeing the end coming. He really got stuck in towards the end.
Fantastic. And now I believe Audrey Park, the leader of the orchestra, is coming back onto the platform now, ladies and gentlemen. reception for Krzysztof Jablonski from Poland, who earlier played delicious Chopin and now proves that he holds the world record for the Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto No. 1. Just listen to the marvelous applause. Fantastic. Wonderful pianist, but I don't agree with his actual interpretation, if you don't mind me saying so. However, never mind. Now we shall hear the French pianist François Kilian playing the second piano concerto by Brahms. The jury will soon be going off, ladies and gentlemen, for their deliberations, and I'm sure there will be a photo finish for first place and a fair amount of discussion about the other placings, but I doubt if there will be a steward's inquiry. But now we shall meet the two competitors who have just played. Firstly, Krzysztof Jablonski, who played the Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto No. 1.
Krzysztof, why did you decide to take part in the Dublin competition?
Krzysztof, dlaczego zdecydowałeś się wziąć udział w konkursie dublińskim?
Po pierwsze, kiedy byłem na konkursie w Leeds, zobaczyłem reklamę tego konkursu i wydawał mi się...
When I was in Leeds, I saw the advertisement of the
Wydawał mi
Dublin
się
competition.
bardzo interesujący, a poza tym są bardzo atrakcyjne nagrody.
And they are very attractive prizes.
Most of your studies have been in Poland. Did you ever feel that it would be important to go to other countries to study, to learn other approaches to music?
Wydaje mi się to absolutnie niezbędne.
I think it's absolutely necessary to go abroad and to have contact with the master pianists, with very good music, and to hear them live.
But does he still need to study?
Tak, myślę, że do końca życia każdy się powinien
Yes, I
uczyć,
think
bo
you should
jeśli
keep on
dojdzie do
learning,
wniosku, że
for
już
if you think
nic
you
się
know
nie
it
może
all,
nauczyć, to
you're
jest chyba
finished.
jego koniec.
You're playing Tchaikovsky No. 1. Why did you choose to play that concerto?
Jest to jeden z moich ulubionych koncertów
One of my favorite concerts.
i może właśnie dlatego wybrałem ten koncert.
And that's why.
Have you played it before?
Tak, grałem już wcześniej ten koncert.
Yes, I did.
W Polsce,
In Poland.
wyłącznie w Polsce.
But never outside of Poland.
After the semi-final, when you played 24 Chopin preludes, you came to the dressing room and you played blues. Are you secretly a blues pianist?
Nie jestem takim pianistą i myślę, że nigdy nie będę grał takiej muzyki, chociaż
And I don't think I'll ever play this kind of music.
chociaż nie stronię od każdej dobrej muzyki.
But I like any good music.
No i z tym, że nigdy nie będę publicznie grał takich rzeczy i nie
won't
będę
ever play it
się
in public.
ujawniał, dlatego że są ludzie, którzy to robią znacznie lepiej.
But because there are people who do it much better.
I thought he did it very well. What will you do with the prize if you win tonight?
Jak już wygrasz tę nagrodę, to co z nią zrobisz?
Najpierw trzeba ją wygrać.
Have to win it first.
Afterwards, will you tell me?
A potem powiesz nam?
A tak, potem tak. Potem na pewno.
I'll tell you later.
Hugh, a most invigorating, if individual, performance of the Tchaikovsky Concerto, which for me must hold the world record for speed. Your impressions, please.
Well, absolutely stunning. I think the way the audience rose to a man almost after this fabulous performance pianistically.
Yes.
I have to say that I think pianistically we stood here, out of the 6 competitors, we stood in the presence of somebody who perhaps, in sheer pianistic terms, is really a level ahead of anybody else. I mean, I was absolutely bowled over. I saw some of the jury sort of looking in amazement as he cruised through things. In a way, I think this could possibly be a little bit of his downfall as well. Things are almost too easy for him.
He has such a phenomenal talent, but really an interesting performance. And now, Francois Killian, who played Brahms' Piano Concerto No. 2, said earlier today in an interview with Ingrid that he would like to win in order to avoid being a piano teacher for the rest of his life.
Francois, why did you decide to take part in this Dublin competition?
Because every year I force myself to work my pieces to the limits, to expose them to the greatest possible danger, and for me the danger here is very attentive ears. That's a difficulty. There's a nervous energy, myself included, and also to change composer and to be exposed every 2 days.
In this competition, you've been able to play the pieces you like. There aren't so many compulsory pieces as in other competitions. Did that make much of a difference?
Yes, it makes a difference. In as much as I didn't have time to learn new pieces, I thought about entering the Gesa Enda competition in Zurich. But there was too much to prepare, too many long sonatas by Schubert that I did not have in my repertoire. And I said to myself that here I could play pieces that I had worked on for years. That's the great advantage of this competition. You can play what you want, what you like.
Do you play better when you're playing those familiar pieces?
I have no doubt about it. You play better. And undoubtedly within my program there were pieces which were better than others, where the feeling was better. It's very hard to be the same from start to finish, even when you like all the pieces.
Do you like competitions?
No, it's always a nightmare, and I sincerely hope it's going to end soon, because I've already won some prizes and I have a lot of concerts. Because you do competitions in order to get more important concerts, in order to live, just financially. There's always that. And above all, to avoid becoming a teacher, to work only on the piano, and also to win, of course. That's the point.
Why did you choose Brahms' second concerto for the final?
Because it's a work I believe I've always known. I've listened to it from the age of 10 or 12. And it was a work, along with Rachmaninoff's second concerto, that I know I wanted to play later. I learned it when I was 18. Now I'm 26, so that makes quite a while I've been playing it. And I've already played it 6 years ago with an orchestra in Paris. It's an extraordinary work.
But earlier today I saw you carrying a record of the concerto. Do you plan to play at all?
Well, I'll try to copy it. That's all. No, really, it's an interpretation by Geza Anda, which I have not heard before, and it's extraordinary, I would say. The thinking, the maturity of his playing. But it's above all so I can concentrate myself on the orchestra, to put a unity in my head, that's it.
A very arresting and commanding performance by Francois Kilian of Brahms' second piano concerto, one of the masterworks of the repertoire. And interesting for listeners who don't know so much about the form of music, the fact that it's in 4 movements as against the usual 3 piano concerto. A phenomenal scherzo, I think, and a slow movement of great, great beauty, which I think Kilian brought off extremely well. I'd also like to just say a little word of thank you to Aisling Drury-Byrne, the solo cellist who played, I thought, extremely well, expressive and very well in tune.
I enjoyed it. Enormous tone. It really echoed around the concert hall.
It worked beautifully, and very good support from the orchestra there and conductor. Yes. Have you anything you'd like to say about the concerto? Have you played it?
No, I haven't played it actually. I've played the other Brahms, but not this one. Perhaps something to be saved for later on in life. Brahms, of course, wrote it much later in his life than the other one. The other one was written in his mid-20s, in his really early sort of passionate period. Here we have a more considered work, of which there are a number of approaches possible. Very powerful or perhaps more spacious. This was the spacious approach, I thought. Personally, I was
going to say, you said in the first movement, just whispered in my ear, you thought it was a little bit spacious. If you were doing it, you might like it a notch quicker.
I agree. That's a personal preference. I also felt that coming straight after the Tchaikovsky, which went like a train, we all had to kind of slow down our pulse rates for 10 minutes.
Absolutely, you know? Yeah, that was really great. In any case, I have to sum up a little about contestants. So, we've now heard all the 6 finalists play. Yesterday, Clara Vogt from Hungary played Beethoven's 3rd concerto. Leonard Mark Anderson from America played Brahms' 1st concerto. Jura Margulis from West Germany played the Tchaikovsky No. 1. And tonight, of course, we heard Brahms 1 from Philippe Cassard. Krzysztof Jablonski from Poland played the Tchaikovsky concerto. And lastly, Francois Kilian played the Brahms' 2nd piano concerto. We now have a break for about 50 minutes, after which we shall have a few informed comments for you. So, do come back to us, please. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. The jury are still out debating the placings, the winner, who's going to be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Very interesting competition indeed, I have to say. Exciting Tchaikovsky, speedy for me. That boy, what a riveting pianist. Very, very interesting Brahms, a Brahms 1 with a great degree of lovely musical playing in the second movement, and Mr. Francois Killian giving a Brahms too. I've spoken to some members of the public who think he could be the red-hot favourite, but a very, very interesting competition indeed. But let's see who Ingrid is talking to. I wonder who it will be. Somebody at the bar, I've no doubt.
Well, you've been the organisational backbone of the competition. How's it gone so far?
Well, it's gone extremely well, thank God. We seem to have we've had minor hiccups, but nothing major yet. I'm a little bit, anxious at this moment that anything serious might happen. But so far it's gone very, very well. We've had loads of cooperation from everybody.
You mentioned minor hiccups. What sort of things have gone wrong?
Oh, well, little things like a competitor who was practicing in a house and was paying rather too much attention to the daughter of the house and had to be removed rather rapidly and found somewhere else, to go. And little minor things like that that sort of break up the general pattern and plan of the day.
John O'Connor, you've been wearing two hats during this competition, as a juror and as an administrator. What's it been like from the point of view of setting it up?
Oh, it's been easy enough, I suppose. I mean, the thing is that we did so much preparation that eventually the relief of sitting down on the first day and just listening to the music has been much easier, because I know the administration backstage is working, so I can just listen to the music.
Well, you've had to listen to an awful lot of music because 53 competitors arrived here. As a juror, what have you thought of the standard here?
The standard has been amazing. All the jury have said that. They've said that even from the 12 semi-finalists, probably any one of them would have won first prize in another international competition.
What qualities have you been looking for from the pianists here?
Well, I suppose from the jury's point of view, there have been 13 different music critics listening to this, and so you never get 13 different music critics to agree about anything, nor can you get the jury to agree. But certainly the qualities I've been looking for have been qualities of there's something special to say, not just the person who can play louder and faster than anybody else, but a special, original quality.
Well, you've been totally tied up in this for I don't know how long. What is it going to be like tomorrow when it's all over?
Well, you see, the thing is, it's not all over, because we've always said that this competition would go on every 3 years, so that we never clash with Leeds. And it was the greatest thrill of this competition, almost for the organisers, for Tony Ryan to announce at the dinner last night that they are committing themselves to sponsor it again in 3 years' time, and that is fantastic news for us.
Even though it'll mean the same amount of work all over again?
Probably more, but we won't mind.
Philip Martin.
Anne Fuller and John O'Connor talking about the problems involved in running an international piano competition. Now let's rejoin Ingrid, who is getting the point of view of the man in the street.
Ted Nealon, as a former Minister for the Arts, how do you rate the importance of a competition like this?
Well, this is the kind of thing we should be in, and this is the kind of thing we've been missing out, especially the international aspect of it. We've got all the facilities here. I think it's a marvellous sponsorship, and congratulations all around, and you see the wonderful atmosphere around here tonight.
What about the cultural importance of an event like this?
Well, I think it's tremendously important, and it's very nice to see all these people in the concert hall. It'd be very nice to see them occasionally at our own orchestra's concerts. You know, we'll see a lot of faces at events like this that we don't see. And I think if it means that this will sort of engender a real interest in music, and that, I think it's a very important occasion. I'd like to see something similar done for singers. That would be very exciting.
Kathleen Watkins, you've been here for both nights of the finals. What sort of an international flavour has there been to it?
Well, the international flavour for me is coming from the judges, who are from so many nations, and they are very important and very high up in the music world, and they are representing their nations, and they are also people who are well known throughout the music world, and they are regularly attending international competitions. So now we're very proud because this is our first, and this is an international competition, and they have complimented us, so we're really feeling very happy about our first.
What did you think of the standard of the pianists who got through to the finals?
Well, they're all very fine pianists, every one of them, but at this stage, a lot of them are obsessed with technique, I think, and a few years now might knock the edge off that, and then we'll find them putting a lot more music behind the technique. But as I say, it's very difficult to judge them completely. They've been up to high dough like race horses for the last week. And so now that they're really tense when they go on today. So I don't think any well-known international pianist would like to do what they had to do.
I came in on Sunday afternoon and I'm swept away with the whole idea of the thing. And also you have many advantages. You have this superb hall, my first experience of the hall. this double cube and wonderful sound.
So you've been very impressed?
Oh, immensely impressed. I'm obviously impressed.
I think it is absolutely fantastic that this concert hall, this superb concert hall, is packed to capacity tonight with people all absolutely enraptured with the whole thing. I think that is wonderful and I'm enjoying it no end.
How important do you think it is that there's such a strong international dimension to it?
I think it's tremendous, and the reaction we had, because of Kathleen's involvement in the whole thing, we had lunch with the international juries and the judges and so on during the week, and they are absolutely full of praise for the organisation, and they are astonished at the success of the entire undertaking, the international competition in year one, and they are quite fulsome in their praise of everything that's happened so far.
Who do you think is going to win?
I was sitting beside a little girl who was knocked out in round one, and she was enraptured by Jablonski, and she says, Jablonski. So I go with her.
Hugh, there's a great buzz of excitement in the hall. I've done a little bit of research myself. So very divided opinions. Some brilliant Tchaikovsky, you know, some excellent Brahms playing. Some people referring back that the American pianist Leonard Mark Anderson last night's Brahms is going to be the winner, and so on. What do you think? Your comments?
Well, I'm going to hedge my bets a little bit. I think it depends on how the jury are thinking. It depends, they're composed of people from very different countries, different schools of piano. Some, no doubt, thinking more on technical directions, and some looking for musicality. It's extremely difficult, I think, to decide. The Tchaikovsky was absolutely out of this world pianistically, and yet we heard two Brahms performances tonight. I think that convinced everybody in the hall, and I do think the winner will be one of this evening's performers. Let me go that far.
I tend to agree with you. It's very interesting. I heard Cassard play a wonderful recital earlier, and of course the people at home must realise that the competition is not being decided on merely the performance of the concerto tonight. They have played 3 rounds and big programmes and a 50-minute recital to finish to get into the final. So there are many things depending on it. I did hear that Kilian, for example, sort of blew the second round, and then that Cassard didn't play the Schubert C minor so well, but his Debussy was so perfect. And tonight I enjoyed all 3. Harking back, I did think Clara Wurtz, was a very sensitive artist, yes. And one mustn't ignore. One other thing of interest to me was I was quite amazed that Matthias Fletzberger actually didn't get into the finals, because I found his piano playing was most distinctive. He's a musical personality,
So I have to agree with that. Having listened right through the semi-finals, Fletzberger to me was one of perhaps the outstanding 4 people that I felt were guaranteed to place in the final. But in competitions, this always happens. There are a few surprises wherever you go.
I know, yeah. And you found the same yourself.
And
certainly, at the end of the day in performance, you can come off stage and think, gosh, that went very well. And the next thing that happens is you read the most horrible reviews, and you come off sometimes and say, that was dreadful. And suddenly you realise that people thought it was absolutely magnificent. So I don't know what, it's so subjective. It's like wine tasting, isn't it? Or people who like Guinness. I remember doing an interview with somebody and we're talking about the music of Arnold Bax. Said, sort of describe it to me, Bride. And I said, well, it's sort of like draft Guinness. It's an acquired taste. And I think the whole business, I sat earlier with a lovely Japanese from the Kawai piano factory that have donated this wonderful instrument. And he was really funny. He turned and said, but it is all going to be a question of taste, isn't it? And this is what it is, isn't it? I think that the first movement of the Brahms, for me was a little bit not quite my style.
This is the second Brahms,
yeah,
yes.
But nevertheless. Yeah. Well, the results are imminent, ladies and gentlemen. The jury have reached their decision. And onto the stage come the competitors. Now the competitors are on stage. Now comes the dignitaries, various people connected with the competition. There's a sort of breathless hush now. Everybody's awaiting, I assume, the jury, and here they come with Chairman John O'Connor, smiling. They obviously know what's in their mind. Somebody's going to be a very successful candidate tonight. I can see that. They're all trooping on there like soldiers, all sitting down nicely in a row. And here is Kathleen Watkins. So over to Kathleen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're moving a little closer now to the announcement about the winner and the presentations. But first, it's my pleasure to introduce to you everyone on stage. And maybe you would give a collective round of applause at the end. First of all, we have, where are you? Maurice Foley, who is president of GPA Group Limited. Mr. Shudachi, president Mitsubishi Trust and Banking Corporation. Mr. Kawai, President Kawai Pianos, the Lord Mayor of Dublin, Alderman Carmen Sita Hedeman, Anne Fuller, who is the administrator of the piano competition, and Mr. Charles J. Brennan, in whose honour the Brennan Prize is being presented. And now the members of the jury. And they are John O'Connor, Ireland Artistic Director of the piano competition and Chairman of the jury, and the Vice Chairman of the jury from the United Kingdom. We welcome Fanny Waterman. Marcello Abbado is from Italy. Sergei Derensky from the USSR. Christopher Elton from the United Kingdom. Greg J. Gleesner from the United States. Konrad Meister from West Germany. Dominique Merlet from France. Heinz Mejmurek from Austria. Philip Martin from Ireland. Jan Panenka from Czechoslovakia. Charles Rosen from the United States of America. And finally, Yasso Watanabe from Japan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I will ask you all to rise as William D. Finlay, the chairman of the piano competition of the board, escorts onto the stage Uachtar an Éireann, the President of Ireland, Dr. Patrick J. Hillary.
I think you could sit down now, thank you. Uachtar an bhfuil marrá ar dús go bhfuil míad anna buíochtait go bhfuil tú an seo an oíche seo. Mr. President, I would like to say how much we appreciate that you're with us here this evening. I'm sure everybody realizes that he only came home this morning from a grueling state visit to China, and he should be in bed. Instead, he's here. I also have a few thank yous to say before I announce the prizes. First of all, I must say our thank you to GPA, our major sponsors, for the wonderful support they've given us, and also to the Mitsubishi Trust and Banking Corporation and to Kawai Pianos. And I'm delighted that Mr. Shidachi and Mr. Kawai are here tonight to join in these festivities. I would also like to say thank you to RTE. One of the first people I went to speak to about this was Vincent Finn, and really without the support of Vincent and the RTE, the orchestra and everything in Prentice South Inn tonight, this just wouldn't be taking place, and I'd like to say thank you to them. I'd also like to say that one of the reasons for the fantastic entry is because of the support we got from Aer Lingus, and I would like to thank David Kennedy, Bill Maxwell and Bernie Kenny for all their wonderful help. And finally, I would like to express our thanks to Dublin Corporation. Again, they were one of the first people we went to see. We went to see the Cultural Committee under Ben Briscoe, and the Lord Mayor, Carmencita Hedeman, has been unfailing in their support. We got offices, we got so much support from them. Thank you to them. And now what you've really been waiting for. I would like to say, first of all, that the results of this competition are not just based on what you heard last night and tonight. They are based on the 4 rounds. And I have to say that there was almost no problem with the voting all the way through. Almost, I should say, there was no problem. In fact, all I've heard about international competitions is that there can be sometimes acrimonious exchanges between the jury. This jury, the main problem with them has been to keep them quiet while I've been by counting up the votes. They've been having such fun. And I would like to say they have been a magnificent jury. And I would like to thank Fanny Waterman, my vice chairman, and all the other members of the jury. First of all, to announce the winner of the Brennan Prize for the Best Irish Performer in the competition, and that goes to Dervla O'Donnell. And now for the best performance of the piece by Philip Martin, which was set for the semi-final. And he has chosen the winner, and that is Yumiko Urabe from Japan. And for the main prizes, we will go backwards. The Founders Prize of £1,000, the 6th prize, goes to Clara Wurz from Hungary. The 5th prize, the Dublin Millennium Prize of £1,000, goes to Jura Margulis from West Germany. The 4th prize, the Dinah Copeman Memorial Award of £1,000, goes to Leonard Mark Anderson from the USA. No. The 3rd prize of £1,500 goes to François Kilian from France. The 2nd prize of £3,000 goes to Krzysztof Jablonski from Poland. Now I would like to invite Maurice Foley from GPA to join us to present the first prize. I'd just like to ask him to say a few words first.
Thank you, John. Now that, now that everybody can deduce the result, I may get some attention. Mr. President, Lord Mayor, distinguished jurors, all of our marvellous musicians, and all of our friends, I think tonight has been a superb climax to 10 days which are unique in the musical history of Dublin, and a very happy celebration of the 1000th birthday of our great capital. On behalf of all of you here tonight, all of the many people who have listened over the past 10 days in the Royal Dublin Society and in here, and who have watched the marvellous RTE productions, I would like to thank all of our 53 musicians for giving so much pleasure to so many people. GPA and our friends in Mitsubishi Trust Bank and Kawai Pianos feel very privileged to have been able to participate in creating this event. Not only do we feel privileged and honoured, but it's great fun, and we're going to do it again in 1991.
And so I formally announce that the first prize, the GPA prize of £5,000, also the Europa Medal for the best performance by a member of the European Community, and the first prize in this competition goes to Philippe Cassard from France.
A really wonderful occasion, ladies and gentlemen, in the National Concert Hall. Philippe Cassard has taken the top prize. Hugh and I think, are quite delighted. Also to know the competition will be back in 3 years. I think it was a very, very popular decision indeed. We leave you with our winner playing part of his concerto. So from all of us here at the National Concert Hall, a very good night.